Well, good afternoon. I want to thank General Cray and his team for hosting this press conference availability today. First and foremost, I want to emphasize to all those serving in our National Guard, Vermonters know you serve with pride and integrity, that you've made and continue to make tremendous sacrifices, putting your state and country before self time and time again. I want you to know you have my respect, my gratitude for your service, and I've seen firsthand how hard you train to be the very best and how much you value honor and integrity. As we've seen throughout time, in many areas and in many organizations, there will be instances of poor judgment, mistakes made, and an occasional bad apple. But individual situations such as these are the exception, not the rule. They do not represent the Vermont National Guard as a whole, or reflect the vast majority of members and leadership who serve with honor. With the questions raised in recent weeks, however, I believe it's important to verify that current practice upholds the legal and ethical standards expected of our Guard. It's an opportunity for the Guard to communicate and describe these standards and processes to the public, as well as its commitment to holding everyone, regardless of rank, relationship, or role, fully accountable. I know how important faith and trust is to this institution, and I appreciate General Cray's leadership in this area and his continued commitment to this work. I also appreciate his willingness to speak with you today. I understand that without being able to discuss specific personnel matters, it's difficult to address all your questions and concerns. But it was important for both of us that we review all the Guard's commitment to ensuring the safety of all its members, its adherence to defined systems of reporting, discipline, victim advocacy, and more importantly, their commitment to accountability and a culture that puts integrity, excellence, and service above all else. I want to be very clear. My faith and confidence in the women and men of the Vermont National Guard is unwavering, and I believe they have followed their systems. And I believe that they've followed the systems of our federal partners as well for adjudicating difficult personnel matters. But as with anything, there is always an opportunity to do better. And I know General Cray and the Guard understands this as well. At this point, I'll turn it over to General Cray.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you, Governor Scott, for your continued support of your Vermont National Guard. It means a lot to the Vermont National Guard members and their families that you're standing here with us. First, I want to express how proud I am to be serving as Vermont's Adjutant General. I have served this state and nation for nearly 34 years, and it's been an honor and a privilege to lead our airmen and soldiers. Our women and men of the Vermont National Guard have volunteered to serve this country and make great sacrifices to protect the freedoms we enjoy each and every day. There's a reason that military service members are considered one of the most respected professions in the United States. Our fellow citizens expect and deserve the very best of our country, and that we will protect their sons and daughters with whom they have entrusted us with their care. To that point, last week was arguably one of the toughest weeks I've experienced as a service member. And to be clear, I vehemently disagree with and dispute the negative characterization of our members and our culture in recent media coverage. I believe that through adversity, we will continue to grow and improve our organization. While we as an organization have made significant progress on our response capabilities, we are still battling the societal issues of sexism and harassment. The Vermont National Guard is committed to ensuring those who have the personal courage to report harmful bias, acts of discrimination, or crimes of sexual assault are validated, and those responsible will be held accountable. I fully acknowledge that we are not a perfect organization, but I and the leadership are committed to improving our culture of dignity and respect. Although privacy protections prevent me from speaking about specific details, I can say that the cases and individuals that were identified in the articles were investigated, reviewed, and adjudicated. The individuals were all granted an appeal process and reviewed at multiple levels in and outside of the Vermont National Guard. And in the end, the cases were handled correctly, professionally, and appropriate action was taken. Make no mistake that while I am the Adjutant General, this organization will continue to appropriately investigate and take action on all reported offenses. If current or former employees feel they've been harassed or victimized in any way, my door is always open to you. Since my tenure began in 2013, we have taken many steps to improve our organizational culture. It was a cornerstone in my pledge to the Vermont legislature. The Vermont National Guard has several programs and policies in place to focus on organizational excellence and culture. Our EO, or Equal Opportunity Program, the SAPR, or Sexual Assault Prevention and Response Program, the Cultural Transformation Task Force, the Military Women's Program, and our reporting requirements to the Vermont legislature. The Equal Opportunity Program promotes the full realization of equal opportunity in employment for all persons, and to identify and eliminate discriminatory practices and policies to include sexual harassment. The SAPR program is responsible for executing a proactive and comprehensive program designed to educate, advocate, and collaborate in order to respond to and stop sexual assault and its harmful effects that impact our members. We have 2 full-time state-level program managers, 1 full-time Air National Guard program manager, as well as 4 sexual assault response coordinators and 33 unit victim advocates. All of them are trained and certified through the National Organization of Victim Advocacy. Our SAPR program is fully integrated into our civilian networks throughout the state of Vermont for community engagement. We are members of the Chittenden County Sexual Assault Domestic Violence Task Force, and our own Sexual Assault Response Coordinator, Mr. Scott Detweiler, is the co-chair. We're members of the Intercollegiate Violence Council. We're members of the Vermont Victim Assistance Academy, and we are networked with all Vermont sexual and domestic violence programs across the state. From these EO and SAPR programs, I created the Cultural Transformation Task Force in 2013 to provide a more focused response to culture change. And our end state for the task force was and continues to be 1, improved climate and overall response to issues with regard to sexual harassment, sexual assault, and violence in the workplace. 2, a successful transition of women into combat assignments in the 86th Brigade Combat Team. 3, increased retention rates in all categories with special emphasis on women and minorities. 4, increased representation of women and minorities in non-traditional roles and in leadership positions. And from the task force was born the Vermont National Guard Military Women's Program. So this program has continued to integrate trainings on gender diversity and building platforms to discuss strategies to combat sexism. We implemented the lean-in circle concept. These facilitated conversations focus on the challenges of women in the military. Men and women both participate in these facilitated groups and are experiencing peer-to-peer support regarding countermeasures to sexism. Since 2013, Vermont statute requires the Vermont National Guard to report annually on sexually based offenses, and we have provided the legislative body a comprehensive picture of the work we have done and what we continue to do regarding the prevention of sex-based offenses and care for survivors. The following facts are provided to clarify the data released as part of last week's reporting series. From 2013 to 2017, 33 reports of sexual assault were received. Of the 33 reports, 14 were identified Vermont National Guard service members as the alleged offender. 19 of the 33 cases were for incidents prior to 2013, which suggests that members now have greater confidence in the system to come forward and that they will be treated fairly with advocacy they deserve. This increased reporting is in line with the increase in national reporting. Our programs have been recognized with numerous awards, to include the 2016 National Guard Bureau Excellence in Diversity Award, and in 2017, the Army Individual Award to the State Equal Employment Manager. And I'm proud of the progress we have made, but like every institution, we should always be working to improve in this area. And that's why I've ordered the following action steps. 1, to initiate a policy to increase transparency and disclosure of cases and the disposition of them. 2, to shift the format of compliance-based sexual harassment training to increase direct leadership engagement on prevention efforts. And 3, to work with the Vermont legislature to identify how we can monitor and track the progress on these 2 action items as part of our annual reporting process. I also want to ensure survivors who come to us know that we will protect their information. An unfortunate and disheartening byproduct of the series is that the survivors had their personal information shared with the press and they were contacted directly. The program managers and advocates we have today are credentialed and trained by civilian organizations to collect and to protect privacy information. And I have the highest level of trust and confidence that our program managers and advocates will safeguard your personal information. And while I accept that we have an opportunity to reflect and improve, I stand by the integrity of our processes and the work to ensure all members of the Vermont National Guard have equal opportunity for advancement, feel safe in the workplace, and know everyone who is found to have broken the rules is held accountable. Survivor choice is a cornerstone of our programs, including a member's decision to make a confidential report, which we will continue to protect. In closing, I reiterate that serving as the Vermont Adjutant General has been a privilege. I literally grew up in this organization and will hold my head high when I retire in March. My civilian employer has fully expected me to return to work after my 3rd term as Adjutant General. It will be hard to leave something that has been a part of my life for nearly 34 years, but I know that the women and men of the Vermont National Guard and the military department will continue to lead the way for Vermont.